We proudly support the full lineup of Panasonic PTZ cameras, utilizing Panasonic's native protocol to control every single parameter they have inside of them. So, welcome to SKAARHOJ, the home of universal control panels without compromise. And in addition to being compatible with nearly all camera brands and models on the market, we enhance your experience with features like PTZ Trace, cruise control, label, presets, and that's just to name a few. So we have PTZ Fly and PTZ Extreme in the studio today, but first, let's have a little fun experience with these cameras, recalling a preset on all three of them at one time. And that's what I just did from the PTZ Fly here, because I can basically, and that's a sort of hidden feature, but it's still fun. You can select each camera, but you can also press and hold and select multiple cameras at a time, which means you can control them all at the same time. Not really useful, except actually for recalling presets. That's pretty nice. So presets is a PTZ camera feature that you find in basically all cameras on the market. That means they can go to a specific pan tilt and zoom position that can be stored and recalled from a button press. So on SKAARHOJ controllers, this is incredibly easy to achieve. Let me quickly show you. Let's just go here to the UE150. We have preset number 1, which or number 2 is this one that I've pre-recorded, and here we have preset number 1. If I wanted to just change this a little bit or make another preset like number 5, I can press and hold. It is now stored here, so let's just go to number 2 and then go back to number 5 I just created. That was quick and easy way to do a preset. Okay, we are looking at PTZ Fly right now. So what is the difference to this one? Well, this one has a joystick that allows me to control the same camera, by the way, if they are selected on the each. Because if I select another camera like this one, the UE160, I am controlling that one, while this one controls the UE50 camera. And we also have the UE80 here in the middle. These are modern Panasonic cameras. So they are all controllable with each controller, if you will, at the same time or separately, however you like it. But basically the PTZ Fly is obviously smaller, so more compact, less buttons. It means that the same row of buttons are shared for selecting your camera and recalling a preset. And also the menu up here is basically cycled through by pressing the upper edge of this button. And you see the selection of items. Well, we are basically here having like, I don't know, 7 pages or something. And then we are back to the original page once again here. And here we have red and blue gain, for instance. So we have on this next page, we have master pedestal, we have details, we have ND filter on this camera, and so on. We can look at some of these things. We'll find the same on the PTZ Extreme as well. But one of the things that I want to show you is that if I change the camera over here, then we may see variations of these. Not only is it showing different values, obviously, because the cameras are not exactly the same, but we can also sometimes find other parameters. In this case, in the PTZ Extreme, it's pretty much the same, except some parameters may not be able on certain cameras. Like if I take UE50 and we cycle through, we may see a blank spot like this one. What is that? That is ND filters. And ND filters is not available on the UE50, but it is available on UE80 and UE160 cameras right here. It is actually also possible to pull these together, and if you do, you'll see that some values that are different on these cameras will be shown in a way that indicates that they actually have different values at the moment. But if you change them on this knob, then you can basically put them to the same value, both of them. All right, so that is PTZ Fly. If we look at PTZ Extreme, obviously there are more buttons, and we use that to give you more immediate access to features. So, for instance, you don't have to press any button to access the presets. They are just readily available on the control panel when you have selected the camera. And now for the UE80. And if we select presets here for the UE160, then we have them readily available. We also have 8 encoders for settings. It means that if you look at what you find in those displays, as I browse through these menus, you just find more settings. Because if you buy this panel, you're probably looking for more settings to control. You are probably a more professional user in the sense that you enjoy professional broadcast, while this controller is for people who need to have less access to settings. You can even remove some of those in the UI. I'll show you that also. But in this case, we have multiple pages. You see page and page and page and page of settings, even going to like page 11 to 15. And there's no way I can cover all of this in this video, but I can let you see that we have up to those 16 pages of menu items. So 16 times 8 available settings are up there. So that brings some credibility to the claim that we basically give you control of everything this camera can do. But if we go to UE50, you'll find that we do not have that many pages. Well, it's almost as many, but we have 14 pages, and on each page there are also settings, but they are not the same level of detail as you find for the UE160 here. Obviously, we have a zoom rocker, we have a focus wheel, and we also have an iris knob, specifically for those people who like to use both hands to control the camera. But I promised you to show you some of those special features that we have, and one of them is the Trace. So let's just have fun with Trace, and we can do that with the cheapest camera of them all, the UE50. So with the UE50, and if I press and hold this button, I get into the engineering menu. And in that, we have Trace enabled. So I just enable Trace and we go back. And what it means is that now I can record presets that is basically replaying speed actions on the camera. So let me show you how that works. We just start with this one. Press and hold for 3 seconds and it turns red. It's now ready to record. So what I do is I grab the joystick and then I start basically recording a trace that is like typically slow movements, but it's basically just my actions that get recorded here. Okay, I think I'll just speed this up slightly, then I'll just make a pause, and then I'm going to pan a little bit to the left here. All right. And great. All right, sorry for the jerky image here on the screen. I'll stop the recording now, and then I can press the button. So now it's arming itself, getting back to the original first position, and then I can press and it's gonna start playing back, and I can now grab my coffee and just relax for a slight moment. Yeah, it's doing great. Anyway, we don't have time for waiting for this, but it's playing back. I can also stop it again. That is PTZ Trace. It's something we built into the control panel, and you can do that on basically any camera that we can control. Panasonic cameras, other brands as well. I want to show you the web UI of these two controllers. Very important, because this is PTZ Extreme and this is PTZ Fly. It looks very much the same. It comes straight off these boxes. Both of them are talking directly to these cameras. They don't need a computer in between, but we need a computer to bring up the web UI of the units so that we can configure them. And if you want to add devices, there's a lot of Panasonic devices that you can find in our list here, Panasonic, and you find basically all these PTZ camera models are available to select. So we can throw in another UE50 if we wanted to, or a, what else do we have? HE120, that's an older PTZ camera. Okay, I want that too. I don't have one on the network. I do have another, I think UE70 on the network, and if I can remember the IP address, maybe we are lucky today to have it join us for this session. We'll just see. Oh, yes, but I don't have a feed from it. Anyway, it's that easy to add new cameras, and when I did that, did you see it anywhere on the control panel? No, you did not, and the reason is that sometimes it does make sense that the camera selector you have here is not exactly the same as the cameras you have added over here. For instance, you may also want to rearrange them. Notice what happens in the displays as I'm dragging these around. I now have UE80 over here. I can also move that over here, and you'll see that UE160 is in the middle, but this one allows me to now add the UE70 camera, so that is camera number 4, and it also has menu items, it also has presets, all those nice things. So you manage that from the back end here, and you can set names. You can also, if you want to name presets, for instance, enter in here and you can name a preset alternative. So I think that should, for the camera that I selected, which was the first one, let's just quickly go there. You see that label changed. Hey, okay. So it's really easy to make sure your presets are useful because you can give them names and put them straight into the awesome OLED displays of the control panel. Wrapping up this video, I finally want to show you the configuration page. Usually that will take us into a long rabbit hole of things you can do, but on both controllers, the PTZ Fly and the PTZ Extreme, we have a configuration tab. And in both cases, you can basically see there's a user section down here where you can choose Panasonic PTZ camera adjustments. And if you do that, you can basically go through the menus that I have demonstrated, you can cycle through here, and if we do that for the PTZ Extreme, that is the menus that we are selecting on these buttons. And that is changing in the web UI right now. If you click any of these encoders, you can change what is on that for that particular menu you're in. In the PTZ Extreme, it's even more than that, because it turns out that we have two different sections. There is a specific section, high-end it's called, for the UE 160, while there is another section called mid-range being used for the UE 50 and UE 80 cameras, because they have different features. And we also saw it in the menu. We had 16 pages in one case, 14 in another case, but it's the same. In each of these cases, you can go to the page of the menu here and click on the item that you want to change and assign something to. All that is possible inside of configuration. Here is an important point. If you are managing tens or even hundreds of Panasonic cameras, you are probably used to switching groups on your control panel. And with SKAARHOJ, that's no longer necessary. Our controllers, they are always connected to all your cameras simultaneously, and that eliminates any wasted time changing groups. And if you prefer an external panel for camera selection, that's an option too. And remember, it's not just PTZ Fly and PTZ Extreme that can control Panasonic cameras. Any SKAARHOJ controller can do that, including our RCP panel. For more details and inspiration, reach out to our sales and support team. Stay connected by following us on Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel, or you can sign up to our newsletter. And all the links and information you need for that is in the description below this video. Thank you for watching.